activities. Expect partly cloudy skies tomorrow, along with a high of 57 and a low of 39. Rain is in the forecast for Friday. It looks like we'll also see an increase in the temperature with a high of 61 and a low of 53. Rain showers will continue into Saturday. Expect a high temperature of 62 and a low of 41. Rain is in the forecast for Sunday as well, along with a high of 50 and a low of 29. So be ready for a chilly Christmas Eve. This is Mason Sell for the news, 103.9 Livewire Weather Center. Count on it.
In Irwin, we have scattered showers and it's 50. In Greenville, it's cloudy and 52. In Johnson City, it's cloudy and 51.
Are you ready to take a ride of your life? Let Black Wolf Harley-Davidson get you started right with a Harley-Davidson Riding Academy New Rider course. The course offers hands-on instruction and real course experience that can teach you the skills you need to get the most out of riding. For a limited time, active military, veterans, and first responders and their spouses can learn to ride for $99. Riding Academy classes are filling up quick. For information or to enroll, go to blackwolfharley.com. The ultimate Harley-Davidson experience.
Okay, Tri-City Sports Now. I am Marky Billson. And a lot of people focusing in on UT, and certainly I will be talking about that. By the way, got a quarterback. In fact, they got a quarterback who was going to go to California. I mean, Berkeley. Now that is really, I got to tell you something. The difference in campuses between Berkeley and Tennessee. I mean, think about this. Tennessee is, I can remember they would, on those like little 60-second spots that they have to promote the universities during the football games. You know what I'm talking. This past year they had people singing Rocky Top. And I always thought, you know, these are designed so that somebody watching the ball game out of the area might want to go to the University of Tennessee. Remember, Kenny Chesney used to do them for ETSU, you know, and this, I used to like this is way back when. I mean, when I was a teenager, and Auburn had one, and they really went big time discussing the veterinarian medicine department. And Auburn does. They have this great veterinarian medicine. I mean, if you've got a degree in veterinary medicine from Auburn, you know, you're supposed to know your stuff. And that was, I mean, but I really liked that. I mean, that was telling me something about Auburn other than Bo Jackson and Charles Barkley and, you know, now more contemporarily, you know, Cam Newton, something like that. I really liked that spot. Anyway, as our book live now here, yes, we just dropped that. So forgive me for that. But yeah, the ETSU spot. Before that was Peyton Manning playing chess. Remember? That was pretty cool. You know, Omaha, really? Sometimes I think you can tell by the production values the way that the university is going. If they don't spend something that looks good, you start wondering, do I really want to go there? All right. But anyway, you've got those recruiting spots, like I said, and it used to be that Tennessee had one. I don't know if you remember this, had a Corvette, and they talked about how, you know, the taillight of the Corvette, and there was a new kind of blinker. And they talked about their business school there. You know, that was a big time thing. Now you compare that to Berkeley. You know, you can see a lot of things about the culture of the Berkeley campus. But I don't get, you know, I don't get friend of capitalism, I'm sorry, from the Berkeley campus. But Tennessee got a player to flip from California to Tennessee, a 3-star quarterback. And something that's probably the gem so far, the UT early signing period. There are 2 gems for ETSU that they've already announced. One is a quarterback, by the way, you got to call into this guy. Went to Eagles Landing High School in McDonough, Georgia. And remember when Mike Cavan used to get a lot of players out of Georgia too. But these 2 players show the Randy Sanders influence. Early signing, a quarterback, Cam Lewis, wants to play for Randy Sanders, obviously. I mean, when you early sign at ETSU, he knows he waits 1 year behind Austin Herrick. And then he might be a 4-year starter at ETSU. That player's name is Cam Lewis. Now, he's multi-talented. He is 5,800 all-purpose yards, 47 passing touchdowns, 12 rushing, in 3 years as a starter at Eagles Landing High School, threw for almost 2,000 yards and 14 touchdowns, rushed for 468 yards. That's not so much that you start thinking that he's going to take it off every time a rush comes or that every time he can run he's going to do so. Also scored 7 touchdowns on the ground this past year. Dual threat quarterback with a live arm, says Randy Sanders. Of course, he's going to say nice things about him. But no, that is, an early signing pickup. That's obviously somebody that Sanders recruited. I wonder if maybe he was being looked upon as a guy, maybe a backup at Florida State, or even, somebody that he was maybe looking at Florida State. We'll find out more as the show goes on. But the second guy really does show the change of philosophy and the changing of the guard from Carl Torbush to Randy Sanders. What do we hear from Carl Torbush? I don't want those JUCOs. He continued to say this as he racked up an 11-22 record and lost 2 teams now playing in the playoffs, and for that matter, losing to teams that beat you with JUCOs by 40 points. I'm speaking, of course, of Kennesaw State. They had 22 transfers. In fact, 22 transfers in 2015. In fact, and that was the year 2015 in which Kennesaw State debuted their football program with ETSU. They both played their first game against each other, and Kennesaw State won 56-16 in Johnson City. It's a bad start for the football program. No way around it for ETSU. Yeah. Anyway, Vince Dooley and Phil Fulmer were both at that game because both of them had been consultants to the startup programs at Kennesaw State and ETSU. Anyway, throughout all this, we heard no JUCOs, By the way, there are a couple of JUCOs. There are actually 13 players that transferred from another school to ETSU on the football roster last season. But Kendall Wright, he's a defensive lineman from Copiah Lincoln Community College. Okay, I am guessing that unless you went to Copiah Lincoln Community College, you have never heard of Copiah Lincoln Community College. It's in Mississippi. And he's 6'4", 285 pounds. He's another early signing. But you see, ETSU going for the JUCO. Very interesting. A changing of philosophy from Torbush to Sanders. Now, in 2 years, and I'm impressed here, 266 tackles, 13 sacks, forced 3 fumbles, recovered 2 more. This was actually at Gentry High School, where he also caught passes. I'm presuming as a tight end. 17 receptions for 306 yards. He's 6'4" and 85 pounds. How's anybody going to tackle him? This past year, for the community college, however, he had 8 tackles and 1.5 sacks. Not outstanding stats, so maybe that's why he wants to sign early. He wants to get that scholarship in. He wants to commit to that 4-year school. And, with 8 tackles in 9 games in community college, maybe Notre Dame isn't the school that's looking for you. Maybe it is an ETSU. Okay, so Kendall Wright signs, but that's a changing. They signed a JUCO. Interesting. ETSU hasn't done this in a long time, not since their first tenure with football. Sanders says that he can play either the end or the interior line, can Wright. Interesting. And that he can be an immediate impact player. Well, he did have a sack and a half in 9 games in community college. You just wish he had more tackles, all told, especially when if he is playing on the interior line. So, 2 guys, early signings for even ETSU. Cam Lewis wanting to play, obviously, for Randy Sanders, thinking probably that he can be the starting quarterback for a minimum of 3 years by coming in now and sitting behind Austin Herrick. And a JUCO player. Yes, a JUCO player. Again, it has not been done before. I am going to leave you with that. And by the way, I'm also going to be taking your phone calls here. What's on your mind in the world of sports? Right now, John McEnroe, but seriously, I'm giving away this book to anybody who gives me a call for the best call of the day at 423-743-6124. That is 423-743-6124. But guess what? You got to call during the break or else I ain't taking your phone call. There you go. Anyway, by the way, I do have a call in to the quarterback there. I know it's difficult to really get excited sometimes. I covered recruiting. It's difficult for me to get excited. Who are these guys? Where did they, means nothing. Quarterback from Georgia in high school? I mean, I didn't go to Eagle, wherever what is that? This isn't Robert E. Lee High School. At least I could relate to that. Be very politically incorrect. I believe Mike Cavan went to Robert E. Lee High School in Georgia. I think that's it. Anyway, I'm going to tell you about the new professional sports franchise coming to Tennessee when we come back, and then more recruiting talk on Tri-City Sports Now.
Symptoms of hearing loss are muffled or blurred hearing, difficulty